Right, so we've now added a bit more detail. We've inked everything in. I've rubbed out most of the construction lines around the outside. So the next phase will be to apply a little bit of colour with tone. So if my light source is coming from this direction, we can shade in. So this would be my dark tone here. Again, because I'm kind of shading a larger area, you can always use your ruler to protect the edges. There we go, so this is my dark tone, so we're not going to shade all of the drawing in for time reasons. This would be my mid-tone, so if I just change the tone a little bit here, and if I just shade around those areas, just going back over where I may have missed some of those areas, so shading along the line, there we go. So I would continue that across the front of the building. If we get to the grass, again, rather than shading all block colour in it all, what we could do is we could do some suggestive colouring. So just on the edges, you could just shade and then fade your colours in. So you just press on and just shade that in. So you just press and just fade that in. You don't have to shade all of it in, so you just press and shade, just press and shade that. Same around this bit, so you're just kind of pressing and then blending those colours into there. So eventually they'll go white, but it just means you don't have to shade all of it in. When it comes to the windows, when we did the on lesson 4, we tried to show if something is made from glass. So you could just shade those edges and blend them in. So shade them and blend them in, and then where the highlights are, just on an angle, you could just put in some parallel lines to suggest we've got some highlights on the surface. The same when it comes to, let's say, the pavement. So rather than shading all the pavement in, you can use your pencil and you could just shade the edges just on those, and then just try and fade them to white, and then you could, with your pencil, it's easy, you could rub those edges in. The same just on the edge on this side, we could just shade that little section in, there we go, and then just blend that colour in on the side. So try and apply a little bit of colour, but again, you don't have to colour all of it in, you could just do around the edges. And lastly, so let's say I wanted to frame my drawing, so with the pale blue, I know this would be grass probably around the back of it, so if you have a garden, so you could just shade the edge here to suggest sky. So I'm just kind of pressing on a little bit hard just around the edges, and then try and release that. So just around the edges here, so press on a bit harder here and then blend it away. So same with this bit, so I'm shading that edge there and then just fading it to white. So I don't have to colour the whole of the page blue to suggest that there's a sky there in the background. Okay, so there we go, that's our house.